Cell phones, cease conversations, and remove all hats. We'll call the court to order at this time. My name is Matt Rolfe. I'm the multi-jurisdictional municipal judge for Stoughton Court. It covers the city of Stoughton, towns of Dunkirk, Pleasant Springs, and Rutland. I'd like to go through some of the procedures we follow in the courtroom. These procedures should have been available to you in the pamphlet as you on the podium as you entered the courtroom. Tonight we take pleas, take people on a first-come, first-served basis. When your case is called, please come forward. You'll be asked to enter a plea of guilty, not guilty, or no contest. If you enter a no contest or guilty plea, I'll review your citation, and if there's enough evidence, or if there's a factual basis in the police report, I'll find you guilty and impose an appropriate forfeiture. A plea of no contest is similar to a guilty plea, but a conviction arising from a no contest plea cannot be used against you in a later civil action. Let me explain that. Say if you're involved in a traffic accident and you receive a citation. If you enter a no contest plea to that citation, then that person who, can't sue you later. If that person sues you later, they can't use that no contest plea against you. Okay, forfeitures range from $20 to $10,000, or $20 to $1,000, excuse me. Almost all are within the $50 to $200 range. The state mandates that we add cost to your forfeiture. For example, a $50 fine will result in a total forfeiture to you of $124. Normally, I grant 30 days to pay the forfeiture, but if you need additional time, please let me know and we'll arrange a payment plan. If you don't pay, I have limited options to collect. I can intercept your taxes. I can send your account to state collections. I can suspend your driver's license for a year, but I'd rather not do those things. If you just have trouble paying, just let me know and we can work out a payment plan. If you enter a not guilty plea, we'll schedule your case over to the next court session for a pretrial conference. That will be on March 14th. That's when you meet with the city attorney and sit down and see if you can resolve the case. Those of you who are facing traffic offenses should understand that you lose demerit points upon conviction of most such traffic offenses. If you accumulate 12 or more points within a year period, you lose your driver's license will be suspended. You'll also be fined. I'd like you to be aware of some of your rights before you enter a plea. You have a right to ask for a continuance. This means that you can set the case over for another initial appearance, either to consult with a lawyer or for some other reason. This is a civil court. You're not entitled to a public defender. You may, however, hire an attorney at your own cost. You also have a right to a trial. Please remember your rights when considering your plea. Those of you charged with operating a motor vehicle while under the influence or with a prohibited alcohol concentration are entitled to request a jury fee in the circuit court upon the proper payment of fees. All our cases will be heard in this court with the right to appeal my ruling to circuit courts. At this time, we'll take the first case, and that will be Mildred Bailey. Miss Bailey, do I have your correct address on Kensington Square here in Stoughton?
Yes, you do.
All right. You received a citation for driving too fast for conditions.
Yes, sir.
That citation carries a penalty of a $136.60 fine and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. The range on this is as follows. And they have what's called a bond amount. That's what they set it at. But let me tell you, there's a range for all these citations for the fines. Let's see, this is $346.57. The forfeiture range is likely to be $30 to $300 on that. Let's see, just a minute. $40 to $300, and you are at $60 plus costs. So you're kind of at the low end of the range, but that's what the bond amount is. Okay. Do you understand what driving too fast for conditions is? Do you want me to read the statute if you are confused by it?
No, sir. I guess I understand, but the weather had such a big play in it.
If the weather had something to do with it, what I would suggest is that you enter a not guilty plea. Schedule the matter for a pretrial conference, because on these there's nothing I can do about the points or anything like that. But you know, if you want to bring that issue up to the city attorney, that would be my recommendation then. If you would enter a not guilty plea, we'll schedule this matter for a pretrial conference on March 14th, and then you can bring that up to the city attorney, and then you can see if the city attorney will reduce the points or the forfeiture or anything like that. Do you want to go ahead and do that?
Otherwise, I would pay the fine and
Yes.
be done with it.
Yeah, exactly. If you're ever in doubt, I always suggest that people enter a not guilty plea. At least, if you come to the pretrial conference, you can see if you can negotiate a different points, or if you can even say at that point, if you made up your mind that you want to contest, you can always call the city attorney as well.
Okay. I slid into the man.
No,
so
I
I'm-
can't hear any, I can't
Okay,
hear any
okay,
facts
I'm
right now.
sorry.
So, because the city attorney's not here, it's kind of
Okay.
unfair for me to hear from one side and not the other.
I think I plead not guilty.
Yeah. Okay, we'll enter a not guilty plea. We'll schedule the matter for a pretrial conference with the city attorney. Now, I'll give you that notice in just a minute. The pretrial conference room is held downstairs. Through the second set of doors, there'll be a conference room. I would suggest that people take a look at it before they leave, so that way they know where it is. Make sure that you appear at the time and place given, because if you don't appear, the city attorney will tell me that you didn't appear, and I'll find you in default, and I'll find you guilty. The second is, that's a chance to tell your side of the story, so bring whatever documents or witnesses might help you in your meeting with the city attorney. I don't need pictures or anything like that, so. If not, that's okay too. So, okay, any questions for me?
No, sir.
Once you get the notice, that will take care of it for this evening then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, okay. Am I free to go?
Yes, you're free to go. Thank you for coming in. Henry Hightower? Mr. Hightower, do I have your correct address on Jackson Street here in Stoughton?
Yes,
You've been cited for operating without a valid driver's license. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Forfeiture range on this, again, I believe it's $3,300, but let me check. In other words, they could have fined you this, or you could be found, that's what you're exposed to. 343.05, 3A. $0 to $200, and you're at $50 plus costs. So you're kind of about a quarter way up the range then. Do you understand what no operating without a valid license is?
yes, sir.
Okay. You understand that you're facing 3 demerit points and $124 forfeiture?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions for me?
No, sir.
Now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
I'm guilty.
What's that?
I'm guilty.
Do you have an updated driver's license right now?
No, sir.
Is there any chance that you can get one?
That's what I was trying to find, the DMV office.
Okay. Well, normally what happens is that I can't reduce it, but if you obtain a valid driver's license, the city attorney would be interested in hearing that.
Okay.
So, but that's the case, you gotta meet with them to see and go through the steps of getting a license. And that would
Okay.
take a not guilty plea.
Okay.
You want me to go ahead and enter a not guilty plea for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll enter a not guilty plea. Again, same warnings, you were here before, but let me explain them to you as well. Make sure that you appear at the time and date indicated, because if you don't appear, I'll find you in default and I'll find you guilty. And then make sure that you know where the room is. It's downstairs through the second set of doors. There'll be a conference room that will mark pretrial conference. And third, make sure that you bring whatever documents might help your case. If you've updated your license, I'm sure the city prosecutor would be very interested in that as well.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay. The bailiff will give you the notice, and once you receive that, that will take care of it for this evening then. Thank you for coming in, Mr. Hightower.
Thank you. Do I pay anything now? Thank you.
Julie Myers? Ms. Myers, do I have your correct address on Estate Lane in Stoughton?
Yes.
Okay. You received a citation for operating a motor vehicle while under the influence of an intoxicant. You also received a second citation for operating a motor vehicle with a prohibited alcohol concentration. Now I'll go through the fines and the consequences and the pacing. Now, the operating while under the influence, do you know what that is? Essentially, that's the fancy term for drunk driving.
Yes.
Then. Okay. So you're facing the following penalties: an $861 forfeiture. Forfeiture range on this is $150 to $300, but they add a $355 assessment charge on top of that. So realistically, the forfeiture range is between $695 and $1,000. You're kind of at the middle with that. So $861 forfeiture, 6 points. If you're found guilty, the state mandates that you have to attend an alcohol and other drug assessment class as well. And in addition, your driver's license can be revoked from 6 to 9 months. Now, The 6 to 9 month depends on your blood alcohol content and your driving behavior. The way I treat it is, if you're under a 1.5, it's 6 months. If you're 1.5 to 1.9, it's 7. If you're 0.2 or above, it's 8. However, if there's bad driving, I add another month to those levels. Okay, now if your blood alcohol content was a 0.15 or higher, the state mandates that I order an interlock ignition device be installed in all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 12 months. It's a lot of words. Do you know what an IID is?
Yes.
Okay. And there's a $50 surcharge to that as well. No blood draw? Okay. All right, now, any questions regarding those penalties?
No, sir.
All right. Now, the second, come up here to sign. The second citation is operating a motor vehicle with a prohibited alcohol concentration. Now, that citation covers the same penalties. The $861 forfeiture, 6 points, AODA requirement, 6 to 9 months, and IID if you're 1.5 or more. However, I can find you guilty on both, but I can only assign the penalties of one. So when I list those out, those aren't doubled. Those are just that's what you're facing then. Do
Okay.
you understand that?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any questions regarding any of the penalties as I've listed them?
No, sir.
All right. Any questions for me other than the penalties and fines or anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, now's the time I take your plea. Not guilty, guilty, or no contest are your options.
Well, I guess, wait, I do have a question.
Yes,
What was my BAC?
I don't know. I haven't
Oh.
looked at anything yet, so.
Oh, because,
And usually I don't take a look at the police report until you've entered a plea, because I don't want to be affected by anything I read in the police report.
one said one thing and one said another thing. I was under and I was over.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know anything about that, so. If you have any doubt, you should likely enter a not guilty plea and schedule the matter with the city attorney.
Okay.
Well, that's what we'll do, okay. Under a not guilty plea, schedule the matter for a pretrial conference with the city attorney. Again, you've heard this before, but let me tell, I have to treat each defendant the same. It's a chance to tell your side of the story, so make sure that you appear. And then if you don't appear, the city attorney will tell me that you didn't appear. I'll find you default, and I'll find you guilty, and I'll impose all those penalties. Locations downstairs, the second set of doors, a pretrial conference room. I always advise people to take a look at it before they go. And again, chance to tell your side of the story, so bring whatever witnesses or documents might help your case then. Any
Thank you,
questions
sir.
for me?
No, sir.
The bailiff will give you the notice, and once you receive that notice, that will take care of it for this evening then.
Thank
All right,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher Thyssen? Did I say that correctly? Or is it Thiessen?
Tyson, actually.
Tyson, okay, so the H is silent then.
Yep.
All right. Mr. Tyson, do I have your correct address in Debbie Drive in Evansville?
Yes.
All right. You've been cited for speeding on a city highway 1 to 10 miles an hour over the limit. That citation carries a penalty of 3 demerit points and a forfeiture of $98.80. Forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. You're at the minimum of $30 plus costs right now. Okay, understand all that?
Yep.
In addition to that, my policies I do, and I worked this out with the city attorney, I do give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. Since you're driving 1 to 10, what I would offer to, what I could amend that to is with defective speedometer, which would be 2 points instead of 3, same forfeiture of $98.80. Do you understand that? I'm giving.
No, not
What,
exactly.
what happens is if you were to enter a not guilty plea and meet with the city attorney would offer the same thing that I did. So what happens is the city attorney, I've reached an agreement that for all speeding cases, I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. So that's a way of, if you want to just accept the lower points, we can be done with it tonight. Or if you have another reason for contesting it, that's fine too. So that's just a way of circumventing some of the pretrial conferences then.
Okay.
So, all right. So you understand I give a 10-mile leeway, and this would be defective speedometer instead of 3 points, instead of 1 to 10 over.
Okay.
All right.
Yep,
Any questions for me?
No, not right now.
All right. Now's the time I take your plea. 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
I just have a couple questions for them, so not guilty, I guess.
Okay. All right, we'll enter a not guilty plea. Schedule this matter for pretrial conference on March 14th. I'll give you notice of that in just a minute. At the pretrial conference, a chance to tell your side of the story, to bring whatever documents or witnesses might help your case. Pretrial conference, and they're going on right now. That's why I always suggest people go take a look at them.
Oh, okay.
Downstairs, through the second set of doors, will be a conference room marked on your left, marked pretrial conference. Again, make sure that you appear, because if you don't appear, I'll find you in default, and I'll find you guilty, and I'll impose the penalties on the speeding 1 to 10 over then. Not,
Okay.
So make sure that you appear.
No problem.
Okay? Any questions?
If for some odd reason I can't make that time, I just call the...
There's a number that they can call as well, so.
Okay.
So, the city attorney, what they have to do, they always have to run a conflict check too, so they can't just have people calling them the next day. They always want to make sure that they haven't represented you in the past then, so. Okay, and with that, once you receive the notice, I will take care of it this evening then.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Christian Aller. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes.
Oh, good. Just a minute, Mr. Aller. Mr. Aller, do I have your correct address on Palmer Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for operating without a valid license. That citation carries a penalty of 3 points and $124 forfeiture. The range on this is $0 to $200. You're at $50 plus costs, so you're about a quarter way up the range then. Any questions regarding operating without a valid license?
No.
All right. Now's the time I take your plea. 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. Before you do you have a valid license?
Yeah, I actually took care of it that day. It was expired.
Okay. I would suggest that you just enter a not guilty plea. Show the city attorney at the pretrial conference that you've updated it then, because I can't change it, but the city attorney might be able to.
Okay.
Then. I don't know if she will, but there's a chance then, so.
Okay.
Okay. We'll enter a not guilty plea. Schedule the matter for a pretrial conference on March 14th. I'll give you the notice in a minute. Bring your updated license to the pretrial conference. I'm sure the city attorney will be interested in that. Make sure that I always advise people to take a look at where the conference will be held. Downstairs, through the second set of doors on your left. And again, make sure that you appear, because if you don't appear, I'll find you in default, I'll find you guilty and impose the 3 points and 124.
Okay.
All right, and that'll take care of it this evening. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
That's why I've got to rush it. Next is Brittany Season? Season?
Yeah, season.
All right. Ms. Season, do I have your correct address on Macomb Road in Stoughton?
I actually, my current address will be up in Merrill, at my parents' house.
Okay.
It's a W2177.
Wait, too fast.
I'm sorry.
Write this down. So
Yeah,
W.
it's W2177 Prairie Drive. It's in Merrill, Wisconsin, 54452.
I'll repeat it. W2177 Prairie Drive, Merrill, Wisconsin, 54452.
Correct.
All right. Okay, Ms. Tyson, you have 2 citations. One is for non-registration of auto. That citation carries a penalty of 0 points and a forfeiture of $98.80. We check the forfeiture range on this. 0 to $200. Next one is, let me do this, non-registration auto. You understand what non-registration auto is?
Yes, I do.
All right. And the other one is operating a motor vehicle without a valid license. That
Correct.
citation carries a penalty of 3 points and a forfeiture of $86.20. You understand what operating without a valid license is as well?
Yes, I do.
Again, that covers a forfeiture of $0 to $200 as a forfeiture rate.
Right.
Any questions regarding these citations?
Well, I guess I have my car registered now. I do technically have a license, it's just expired. I wasn't able to get my license today when I went to the DMV because I don't have my glasses. I had lost them. So I'm just waiting for my glasses to come in and then I can get my license back.
Okay.
I guess I don't-
Have you moved up to Merrill yet?
Not yet, no. I am in the process of it.
Okay.
So, but
The pretrial
completely
conference
no.
is in 2 weeks, so will you still be there in March 14th?
I can make it happen if
Okay.
anything.
Why don't we just enter a not guilty plea, schedule
Okay.
matter for a pretrial conference with both.
Sorry. I was gonna say, I do have like my registration for my car right now, if, I don't know if.
Bring that to the pretrial conference then, so,
All right.
because I'm sure that the city attorney will be interested in that. Again, make sure that you appear, it's downstairs to the second set of doors in the conference room.
Okay.
And then, if you don't appear, I'll default you and find you guilty. And then, bring those documents, I'm sure the city attorney will be interested in that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, well, and once you get the notice, that will take care of it for this evening then.
Okay.
Oh, it'll be the 21st. Oh, you're the last one, so.
What was that?
We scheduled you on the 14th, you're the last one to be scheduled on the 14th then.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Julie Hoff?
Scheduled to 31st, 21st.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ms. Hoff.
He's not in our system.
Do I have you correct? Actually, I know we've had a couple cases pending. Do you feel comfortable with me hearing this case? Because I think there is a conflict. What I could do is that I could have this rescheduled and have you appear in front of another judge then, rather than appear in front of me
We
tonight.
can't take care of this right now?
I don't know if I'd be fair to judge you then, if we have, because we've had a couple
I
pending
wish
cases.
somebody would have notified me.
I know. Well, I didn't know that was going to be a conflict with this. Because were you intending to enter a not guilty plea or in challenges?
guilty.
What's that?
Guilty.
The problem is I don't know if I would be able to sentence you for that, so. But do you, actually, let me, because there was a case that we recently had, so, do you want me to inform you of the penalties and so forth? I mean, do you feel comfortable with having me?
I'm pleading guilty because I did drink a few drinks,
Okay.
so.
I mean, I don't know if I can accept that or not. But let me ask you this, because there was we did have a case in February 1st that's been resolved, but you don't have a problem with that, because it's not, technically not pending right now.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay, okay. I know. All right. Well, let me advise it, and then if you're uncomfortable with it, just let me know with that. Oh, okay. The address I have for you is on County Road A in Stoughton, is that correct?
It is my mailing address. Right now, I'm staying in a motel just
Okay,
for,
but if
couple
you,
days.
in other words, if we mail it to you, you'll get it then?
right.
Okay, all right. Your 3 citations. The first one is operating while under the influence of intoxicant. Let me tell you about the penalties there. Operating under the influence of intoxicant would be a total forfeiture of $861. Forfeiture range on that is about between $675 and $1,000, but you're facing $861 forfeiture then. 6 points. If you're found guilty, the state mandates you attend an alcohol and other drug assessment and required follow-up, and then your driver's license can be revoked 6 to 9 months.
I got a letter here that I'm already
You probably suspended for 6
for
months.
6 months.
Okay,
yeah.
that's an administrative suspension.
Okay.
So that means that if you don't challenge it within 10 days, the DOT automatically suspends your license for 6 months.
Okay.
Now, what I'm talking about is a 6 to 9 month driver's license revocation period. It's a little more stringent than a suspension. So now, the 6 to 9 months depends on your blood alcohol content and if there's any bad driving. So if you're 1.5 or lower, it is a 6 month driver's license revocation. 1.5 to 1.9 is 7, 0.2 or higher is 8. And then, in addition to that, if there's any bad driving, I add a month onto that.
Okay.
And when I mean bad driving, dangerous or aggressive driving, essentially. in addition to those, if your blood alcohol content is 1.5, or if you've received a previous OWI, I must order an interlock ignition device be installed on all vehicles registered in your name for a period of 12 months. And if I if I implement the IID, there's also a $50 surcharge as well.
Okay.
So for that, now that's the operating while under the influence. Do you understand all the penalties as I've listed them?
Correct,
Okay. And then do you understand what operating motor vehicle while under the influence is?
correct.
All right. Now, another citation is operating motor vehicle with a prohibited alcohol concentration. It carries the same penalties as the OWI. 861, 6 points, AODA requirements, 691 driver's license verification, and then the IID if you're 1.5 or have a previous OWI. But I can find you guilty both, but only impose one set of forfeitures. So in other words, you don't get penalized once, even though you got 2 citations with that.
Right,
Okay. Understand that?
yes.
All right. Now, the third citation is unsafe backing a vehicle. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 2 demerit points issued to your driver's license. The forfeiture range on this is unsafe backing a vehicle is, let me check that, Ms. Hoff. $20 to $40, and you're at $30, so you're right in the middle of the range then. Now, in addition, they just passed a state law a couple months ago where if you're convicted of unsafe backing a vehicle, you have to attend a class talking about the dangers of unsafe backing vehicle and so forth, because they don't want you to hit anybody while they're doing that. It's a new law, so you get a notice from the DOT indicating you have to take this class, otherwise you might get your driver's license suspended further.
Okay,
Okay. You understand unsafe backing a vehicle?
correct.
Do you have any questions for me regarding any of these citations?
No.
Okay.
I did have one though,
Sure.
because it says that alcohol or a detectable amount of restricted controlled substance,
Right.
and I don't want nothing on my record, and then I've got from the Edgerton Hospital, I'm on like 20 different medications.
I didn't.
I don't want them to think I'm on a street drug or something.
No. The citations that I have are just operating while under the influence or a prohibited alcohol concentration. I don't have anything regarding the restricted
Yeah,
controlled
this is
substances.
what it said on the Wisconsin Department of Transportation. that I
That's
got.
what the record that you had. Did it say OWI or restricted controlled substance?
Or.
Yeah, no, that just is a general form letter for that, so.
Okay.
All right, any other questions?
Nope.
Now's the time I take your plea, Ms. Hoff. 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Guilty.
Okay, and again, you don't have any problem with me deciding on a sentence? All right. Because if you would have asked, I would have sent it to another judge. But if you're
As
comfortable
long
with
as you're
it,
doing your job,
Okay.
that's fine with me.
all right, let me take a look at your police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea.
Okay, it's all clear.
Okay, I will make the following findings. I do find there's a factual basis for your plea, accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. I'll make the findings that your reported alcohol value was 1.7. that is over the 1.5 limit, so I will order an interlock ignition device be installed in all vehicles registered in your name. That'll be a $50 surcharge. I will find that you were involved with an unsafe backing vehicle, but there wasn't really dangerous driving. So I will find that I will revoke your license for the chart penalties of 7 months. You know how you had a suspension of 6 months before, I'm adding essentially a month to that. I'll find that the $861 forfeiture is appropriate. 6 points will be assessed against your license. You have to complete an alcohol and drug assessment class. And then I will also find you guilty of the unsafe backing of the vehicle and impose the forfeiture amount of the 124 and the 2 points. Okay. 90 days to pay? Okay, that will be, how much is that? Total forfeiture, Ms. Huff, will be $861, $124, 908, oh, plus 50, thank you. Total forfeiture will be $1,035. How much time do you need to pay?
Whatever I can get.
Okay,
I'm on disability.
I know,
checks.
I know, but I know, I think that's a lot of money is what I know. Do you want to say, could you do $100 a month?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we do $100 a month, you know, and set it out for 11 months then. So, okay, we'll set aside that payment plan. Now, Ms. Huff, I've got some paperwork for you if you want to come fill that out. Okay, this is what this is. Sure.
72 hours I gotta call.
Call that number and just.
So I gotta do it
Take that home and make sure within 72 hours that you call it.
now. Call the number that you Okay. Here? Then what do I pay that $20? I haven't heard of
Paperwork for you. Okay, here's the judgments, order for all three. This explains the assessment. This explains the interlock ignition device. And then the form. And then this explains more interlock ignition device. You gotta put it on a year, so if you get caught without an interlock ignition device, it's okay. Well, even if you don't, you have to do 12 months. So if you're not ever driving, that's fine. You could, but if you decide to drive again, even if it's 5 years later, you still have to have it installed
Right.
for a year. So, okay, and there's information on occupational license then.
And then the schooling thing is in there?
Yes, it's all in there. So, all right. Thank you, Ms. Huff. Thank you. James Crook. What? I know. Mr. Crook, do I have your correct address on Church Street in Stoughton?
That's changed now.
What is it now?
711 Pike Lane in
Can
Stoughton.
you spell that for me?
Pike, P-I-K-E, is in the big fish.
Yeah, I thought it was Tyke, so that's
No,
why I didn't hear it
Pike.
correctly. That's Stoughton, Wisconsin. Did you get that? Pike Road or Lane?
Lane.
Lane, yes. Okay. All right, Mr. Cook, 2 citations. One is operating without a valid driver's license. That citation carries a penalty of $86.20 and 3 demerit points issued driver's license in that $0 to $200 range. And the other is a operating motor vehicle without proof of insurance. That citation carries a penalty of $10. Do you understand both citations?
Yeah, I do. I got them both. Well, one, I had a stroke a while back, so I forget things pretty easy. So the last 15 years, I had Geico take the money out for the insurance every month out of
So,
my
yeah,
account.
I can't resolve it now.
No,
so-
I know. So if I gotta show the city attorney all the proof, because I did get a license right away. I should say I renewed it right away.
They're at 21st.
Because I had forgotten about it over the Christmas season, getting it renewed, so it's.
Okay, what we'll do, we'll enter not guilty plea.
Okay.
I'll give you that notice in just a minute. We
Okay.
ran out of spaces on the 14th,
That's
so we'll
fine.
set it for the 21st.
Okay.
Again, bring the paperwork.
I'll show everything to him,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
and then you know where it's at? It's downstairs
Downstairs, yeah.
for the
Yep,
second
yep.
set. And then make sure that you appear, because if you don't appear, I'll default you and find you guilty.
Right. No, I've got everything. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I will have the bailiff give you those to you, and once you get that, that will take care of it this evening then.
Great, thank you.
Nicholas Roberts. Mr. Roberts, do I have your correct address in on Pike Lane in Stoughton?
Yep.
All right. You've received a citation for issuing worthless check. That citation carries a penalty of $124. The range on this is $50 and $1,000. You're at the minimum $50 plus costs. But in addition to the $124, I can also order that you pay restitution. In other words, I can, if you wrote a worthless check and whoever you wrote it to is out a certain amount of money, I can order that you pay that person back that amount of money in addition to the $124. That's called restitution. Do you understand that?
Sure.
All right. Do you understand what worthless checks is?
Yes, I do.
Any questions for me?
No, no.
Now's the time I take your plea options.
It would be no contest.
Okay. You understand with a no contest plea, if I review the police report and there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty?
Oh, correct.
Yeah, all right. Let me read the police report, make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay. I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea, accept a no contest plea, and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
No.
All right. What I will do is that I will, I think $124 is appropriate, you know, based upon the circumstances. And I'll order that you pay Stoughton Utilities restitution of $270. Okay? $270 and $124. How much time do you need to pay that?
I believe they garnished my tax return as well. Does that
Okay.
count towards anything? It was like $600.
The utilities did? If they did, here's what I'm gonna do. Can you find out to see if we'll find out first, because when I order to fine due, if the forfeiture, if they pay the restitution, that comes out first. But if they've already collected that through a garnishment, then I obviously can't order you to pay it twice. If you've already paid it, we'll verify to see if you paid it. But if not, why don't we send them a letter indicating? What's that? $270. We'll send you a letter indicating whether they've received it or not. So if not, we'll add it to the restitution, and I'll give you 90 days to pay both the restitution if you need to, and then the forfeiture amount as well.
Alrighty.
All right. I will give you notice of that, and just so what'd you learn?
Don't write a bad check.
And you know why? The costs just add up more. So.
Right.
So.
It's a laid-off period. Money's tight.
Yeah.
Just unfortunate the way it came out of my account.
Yeah.
Really.
Okay. So could be a mistake, but just make sure that you monitor it as well. So
Sure.
Okay, once the bailiff gives you that, that will take care of it for this evening then.
Alrighty.
Sorry to put that on you, but I wanted to make sure. Where are we now? Brandon Wiesner. Mr. Wiesner, do I have your correct address on Lincoln Avenue in Stoughton?
Yes, sir.
All right. Two citations. The first is operating without a valid license. That forfeiture carries a penalty, or that citation, excuse me, carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Forfeiture range on this is $0 to $200. Do you understand what operating without a valid license is?
Yes, sir.
All right. And do you understand the points of 3 and $124 forfeiture? Okay. Second citation is theft movable property. That citation carries a penalty of $187. Forfeiture on this is, again, $50 to $1,000. You're at $100 plus costs. You don't understand what, in addition to theft, movable property, I can also order that you pay restitution if somebody is out a certain amount of money as a result of a theft. I can order that you pay that person back the value of the property. Understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any do you understand both the theft and the no valid driver's license?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions for me?
Yes, actually. So I talked with,
If you talk with the victim and all, what I would suggest is that you enter a not guilty plea.
okay,
And then to talk to the city attorney and bring that letter with you, and then any agreements that you've already reached. I can't decide on that then, but the city attorney might be able to negotiate further then.
okay.
So,
And then the officer also said that,
hang on. Why don't we just enter a not guilty plea?
Okay.
And then you can bring that up to the city prosecutor then. So, because what happens is if I hear it, sometimes I have to disqualify myself because I've heard, if the city attorney's not here, I can't have what's called ex parte contact. I can't have one side without the other then, essentially. So, we'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea the 21st, right? We moved the pretrial conference back to the 21st just because the 14s have been filled. Make sure that you appear, because if you don't appear, I'll find you in default and I'll find you guilty. Bring whatever the documents that you have or whatever. It's a negotiation essentially, so bring whatever will help that with your case. And then make sure that, I always advise people go take a look at it on the way out of the courtroom. Downstairs, through the second set of doors on your left is the conference room. It will be marked pretrial conferences.
okay.
Any
And then,
questions?
I am actually going to be out of country, the 21st to the 28th.
There'll be a number that you can call with the city attorney if you need to reschedule
Okay.
on the form then, so.
All right.
You'll be gone from when? The 21st to
The-
28th?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you a student?
yes.
It's spring break?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand, so, okay.
All right.
Once you receive those, that will take care of it this evening.
Okay,
then.
thank you.
Thank you. Austin Geyer. Mr. Geyer, do I have your correct address in Road TT in Sun Prairie?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for retail theft, less than $500. That citation carries a penalty of $187. The range, forfeiture range is this is $50 to $1,000. You're at $100 plus costs. You're on the low end, but you're not quite at the minimum. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. In addition to, you understand what retail theft is as well?
Yeah,
All right.
shoplifting.
In addition to retail theft, in addition to the $187, I can also order that you pay restitution to the merchant. In other words, if items were taken and the store did not recover them, then I can order that you, if you're found guilty, that you pay the value of those items back. You understand that?
Yep.
All right. Any questions for me?
No,
Now's the time I take your plea. Guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
not guilty.
Okay. Well, not guilty plea, we'll schedule this matter for pretrial conference. Be on the 21st, not like the 14th I've said. We filled up the 14th sessions. Make sure that you appear, because if you don't appear, I'll find you in default, and I'll find you guilty, and I'll impose those forfeitures. I could even impose restitution on you as well. A chance to tell your side of the story, so bring whatever witnesses or documents might help your case. You've got a statement from somebody that would help as well. And then finally, if I always advise people go take a look at the where the pretrial conference will be held. It will be held downstairs through the second set of doors on your left, be marked pretrial conference. It always helps to take a look at that so you know where it's at before you leave.
Okay.
Any questions?
Nope.
Once the bailiff gives you those notice of pretrial conference, that will take care of it then. Thank you. Taja Iwano? Taha Iwano, right? How is it? Taya. I would never guess it.
No,
Thank you.
nobody ever does.
I saw some people in the courtroom laughing, so I knew I didn't get it right.
I think only 2 people in my whole 36 years have ever gotten it right.
Then I'm with the odds then.
Right.
Okay. Ms. Iwano, how do you say?
I want to.
Iwano. Ms. Iwano, do I have your correct address on 25th Avenue in Monroe?
Monroe, yeah.
Okay. You've been cited for operating while revoked. That's as a forfeiture action. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 points. Operating while revoked oftentimes can be a misdemeanor, but sometimes it can also be an ordinance violation, civil violation.
Like, I
which this
technically
is.
never even had a Wisconsin license, so that's why I was like,
Oh, okay. Well,
But,
do you understand what operating while
Yeah.
revoked is?
Yep.
Okay. You understand it's 3 points, $124. Forfeiture range on this is $0 to $200 as well. So you're kind of at the low end, but not at the minimums. Any questions for me?
no, sir,
Now's the time I take your plea.
not guilty.
Okay. For the not guilty plea, we'll set
The
your matter for...
21st as well?
What's that?
21st as well?
Yes.
And what time would that be?
5:15.
5:15, the
You're right back
21st?
downstairs to the second set of doors.
Yeah, I was
conference
already in
room.
there. I was in
Okay.
there.
Okay. Yeah, you would, the bail would be, okay, let me give you my auditor warnings. I want to make sure I give them the all, I'm inconsistent, that I am consistent. Make sure that you appear, because if you don't appear, I'll find you in default, I'll find you guilty, and then bring whatever documents might help your case for that. All right, thank you, and once the bailiff gives you those documents, that will take care of it for this evening then.
You have a blessed evening.
Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Randall Frazier? Good evening. Hi, Mary. Hi, George. Mr. Frazier, do I have your correct address in Jefferson Street here in Stoughton?
Yep.
Been cited for disorderly conduct. The citation carries a penalty of $124. The forfeiture range on this is $50 to $1,000. You're at the minimum of $50 already, so just so you're aware of that. Do you understand what disorderly conduct is?
Yes.
All right. Any questions for the court?
I'd like to reduce it. I mean, I was yelling outside my yard, shoveling my driveway.
Normally, I can't hear the facts because it would
I
disqualify,
mean, I
but
don't-
the city
I
prosecutor's
disagree
here,
with
so
it.
I don't have to disqualify myself. What I'll do, let me enter a not guilty plea. That way you can discuss the case with the city attorney in 3 weeks on the 21st, and just tell I'm sure that she'd be interested in hearing what you
At
just said.
least reduce it. I mean, I was yelling. I was guilty of yelling.
Well, that might be, if it's just yelling, that might be something that the city attorney and you can consider. So I'll enter a not guilty plea. Talk to the city attorney on the 21st.
How do I obtain the police report?
You can go down to the dispatch window and request one there, sir.
Why am I being charged with a crime? Don't they normally
It's not
send
a
you
crime.
Don't they, huh?
It's not a crime, it's an
So
ordinance
they come like
violation.
not a crime?
Okay, what I've done though, sir, is I entered a not guilty plea. So you can go get the police report and then you can discuss all these matters with the city attorney then.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Rebecca Abrahams?
Hi.
Hi. This Abrahams, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have your correct address on Albion Road in Edgerton?
Yes.
All right. You received a citation for automobile following too closely. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Is this one that they have to take a class? They just changed the law in some of these classes, and now you have to be required to take an extra DOT class.
Okay.
Nope, no class other than that. Okay, so the forfeiture is on this citation is $124. And 3 demerit points issued your driver's license. The forfeiture range on this is as follows: $30 to $300. So you're at $50 plus cost. You're not quite at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. Do you understand what automobile falling too closely is?
Yes.
All right. Any questions for the court?
I don't know if it's a question.
So, I mean, I was,
If you have any doubt about the facts and circumstances, I've said
Yeah.
a lot tonight, what I recommend doing is
Yeah.
enter not guilty plea.
okay.
Just because you get to talk to Ms. Wilson and see if you can resolve it then. All right, so we'll enter not guilty plea. Schedule the matter for pretrial conference on March 21st.
Okay.
At that chance, that'll be your chance to tell your side of the story, so bring whatever documents or witnesses might help
Okay.
your case. There are no more pretrial conferences now, but there will be because normally I tell people go take a look at the room before they leave.
Okay.
If you go through the second set of doors downstairs, will be in a conference room. There's a sign that will say pretrial conference then. Make sure that you appear, because if you don't appear, I'll find you default and I'll find you guilty. Thank you. Good enough. Chase Ward? Okay, thank you. Chase Ward? All right, just a minute, Mr. Ward. Is this a Pleasant Springs ticket? There it is, okay. Mr. Ward, do I have your correct address on Bautista in McFarland?
No, I recently moved out.
All right, what's your new address?
3620, and then Breckenridge, spelled Breckenridge, Court,
What city?
Fitchburg.
And the zip?
53713.
Okay.
If you need an apartment number,
No.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I would actually.
10.
Apartment number?
10.
10, okay. All right, Mr. Ward, you've been cited for speeding in a 55-mile-an-hour zone, 11 to 15 miles an hour over the limit. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 4 demerit points issued your driver's license. So essentially what this is, it's $30 plus costs is the forfeiture range, and forfeiture range on this is $30 to $300. So you're already at the minimum forfeiture range, and it's 4 points. I give a 10-mile leeway for these citations. So instead of 11 to 15, what I would do is I would amend it to 1 to 10 over, which would be 3 points instead of 4. Same forfeiture of 98.80. And interesting, even though Ms. Wilson's here, this is not her. This is not her. This is a township involved, and not a city of Stoughton case. So,
Okay.
So you understand that if I give a 10-mile leeway, and if you enter no contest or guilty plea, I would find you guilty of 1 to 9 or 1 to 10 over, excuse me, with 3 points instead of 11 to 19.
Okay.
Understand that? Okay. Any questions for me?
No, but
Now's the time I take your plea.
no contest.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say your options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty.
Yeah,
And what was your plea?
no contest.
You understand? No contest plea. I'll review the police report. If there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty. Do you understand that?
Sure.
All right. Let me read the police report. Okay, I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis. I'll accept your no contest plea and find you guilty to speeding 1 to 10 over. That will carry a penalty of $98.80. How much time do you need to pay the $98.80?
I can pay it whenever.
Okay, I'll give you 30 days. And you can pay the dispatch window downstairs, or you can mail it in, so.
I'll just pay it today.
All right, once I give that to you, that will take care of it this evening, and thank you, Mr. Ward.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, Nicholas Whitesell Baker. Okay, Mr. Baker, motion to reopen for it, okay, operating after suspension, vehicle operating failure, wear seatbelt, and possession of THC. You're unable to make it due to work schedule and getting days mixed up, and then you had your driver's license reinstated on January 15th, 2018. Okay. And you filed a motion to reopen. This was for an initial appearance?
Yeah.
All right. City's position?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm gonna, even though you've updated your license, I'm gonna grant your motion to reopen what we will do is we'll schedule a not guilty plea for all the citations, and I'll give you a pretrial conference on March 14th at 4:30 PM. Make sure that you, what's that?
March 14th?
Yeah, I'll give you that notice and just say, make sure that you appear at that, because if you don't appear, I'll find you guilty, and it'll be hard to reopen it a second time. Again, bring the updated license and any other documents which might help you with the other citations as well. I'm going to go ahead and sign the order. And with no further questions, I'll take care of it for this evening then. Thank you. All right. Chris Nakio? Oh, here we go. All right. Okay, Mr. Keel, let me have a lengthy explanation. Let me read this. Wrote the date down wrong, and then you called. You believe it is self-defense. Okay, disorderly conduct. All right. I didn't read the explanation. I understand that you believe. All I need is that you believe that you're innocent. You're not guilty of this. Okay, so you filed the motion to reopen. You wrote the dates wrong. City's position.
No objection.
Okay. Mr. Keo, I'm going to grant your motion to reopen.
Okay.
Not guilty plea will be entered.
Okay.
And then your case will be scheduled for pretrial conference. March 14th at 4:45, you get to meet with, be there on the 14th, Ms. Wilson?
I don't think, no.
Okay. Meet with designate a city attorney. It won't be Ms. Wilson. It'd be somebody else. Make sure that you appear. Because if you appear, it'll be much, if you don't appear, I'll find you guilty.
That's
Find you-
downstairs, right?
Yes, downstairs. Much harder to open it a second time then. So.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Another hearing scheduled for 6. She lives in West Bend, and all she's doing is looking for an exemption on an IID. She's available by phone.
Oh, okay.
Swanson? Swan?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
At some point, she was going to be available at 6.
Okay. We'll call Mr. Mr. Swanson?
He's looking for a reduction right here.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, you cited for operating with a controlled substance?
Yes.
Okay. Why are you here tonight?
To apply to have the ignition interlock for half price.
Okay.
Due to,
Do you want, you got some documents for the?
Yeah,
Why
I
don't you
do.
show them to the prosecutor seated to your right?
here's my application first that I filled out, and then just some other expenses. Here's a pay stub from my job, and that's bi-weekly. And then also,
Probably bi-monthly.
What?
Bi-monthly?
No, that's a pay stub. I get paid bi-weekly.
You get paid twice a week?
No, bi-weekly. So I get paid once a week, or once every other week. I'm sorry.
It'll be bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly. I don't know. That's what they said. It said
Bi-
bi-weekly.
Here's the thing, bi means two, so if it's bi-weekly, that means you be paid twice a week. Bi-monthly means you get paid twice a month.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then
so that's what you get paid, yeah.
Bi-monthly.
I just had never heard of bi-weekly before, so I'm like, oh, that would be strange, so, okay.
Okay, that's good. You can,
All right, I have some other things too, like here's proof that I'm on food stamps, and then also here's a letter in there that I'm on food stamps, and then this is my Badger chair. So
Actually, if you want to just bring me that, just the badger care stuff, yeah.
here.
thank you.
That's all right, he's got
And then here's this is what I pay every month for my.
Hang on. If you're receiving this,
You're receiving benefits.
yeah, that's all I really need to see, so, okay, city's position?
No objection to the
Okay.
50% reduction.
And Mr. Swanson, since you're receiving aid, that's all I really needed to see.
Okay.
You've already receiving, I mean, basically what I'll order, and I'll send you, do we have your address? What's your address?
It's 6454 Shady Bend Road.
Okay, we'll actually give it to you right now for the application. Yeah, you dropped it. So what I will do is, I can't eliminate the IED or reduce it, but I can,
Obviously.
half price.
Yeah.
So, and I will have, if you want to wait a minute, you want to just,
Oh, that's fine, yeah. I had to have it installed by February 27th, so I have gotten installed, but they said, when I spoke with the clerk, she said that I'll just bring this form when I go, and then my monthly, my monthly payment will just go down from, because right now it's set at the regular rate.
For installation, so it's
Okay.
just the monthly
okay.
amount.
Yep. Okay, do you guys keep this is my application that I filled out here.
I'll find on the record that you were on Badger Care, and what was the other one, that you were receiving food stamps?
Benefits.
I'll just find on the record that based upon that, so why don't you can go ahead and keep that then.
All right.
Oh, great. So here's the interlock ignition device order.
All right,
Allows you to
wonderful.
half off.
Thank you very much. All right.
Yeah. Oh, actually, do we?
Oh, they're giving you.
Well, I don't know what you need to see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, why don't we call it? We got another, you're free to go, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Sorry, yeah,
I was already on to the next case. It's the same thing. It's another IID, half off.
no, this is an exemption
Oh, for a vehicle?
vehicle.
Oh, thank you.
What's her name? It's
Catherine Christopherson. Catherine, this is Judge Matt Rothy. I'm the municipal judge for City of Stoughton. Okay. You're on court right now, so we've got you, we're on microphone, and we're going out tonight. So I just wanted to provide you with the warnings then. You applied for a exemption of a car for an IID? Yeah. Okay. So you were listed as a co-signer on the title of the vehicle, but you no longer possess the vehicle.
I do not possess the vehicle, nor do I have contact with the owner of the vehicle.
Okay, so there's no possibility that you will drive it then?
Oh, no.
Okay. And, all right, and so you don't have any access, no possession, all that, and you just want that vehicle exempted, and you provided that Ford Fusion vehicle information for me?
Correct.
All right, and you swear that all this is true, that an email that you sent to my clerk, Mary Giemza, on Saturday, February 17th at 11:01 p.m.?
Correct.
That's all true and factual and correct?
All factual and correct, yes.
Okay. Any objections from the city attorney?
No objections from the city attorney.
Okay. Ms. Christopherson, I will go ahead and sign the order indicating that this car will be exempt, and I'll send you the paperwork then.
No, we can't send
Oh,
that.
we can't?
I have to send it to the DOT.
Okay, we'll send that information to the Department of Transportation then.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Did you say no?
Oh. Thank you. Oh, I didn't. Thank you. Anything else?
Well, this was trial for tonight, but there's a letter attached that I didn't get to you. I'm sorry. I'm
That's
jumping-
okay.
Jumping ahead of you here. That's it.
Okay. Go ahead and approve that. Settlement arrangements, pretrial conferences.
Yes. Your Honor, before you start looking at the pretrials, I just wanted to let you know that this will be my last
Oh,
day for prosecuting. Yeah, I'm leaving Stafford.
you what?
I'm leaving Stafford.
Oh, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
can I ask what where you went to, or?
I'm
Anyways,
not-
we're on a live mic to the city of Stoughton, so.
That's okay. I'm not, the city of Stoughton knows, I'm not doing anything. I tried to plan a wedding, apply for jobs, and do my current job, and decided it's not for me.
Okay. Well, thank you for your service, Ms. Wilson. I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it. so.
Nice to meet you guys and work for you as well.
I'll miss you.
Susan will be back.
Okay. Oh, well, it's your lame duck, but anyway, for the sentencing agreement, the school itself shortened it. That's why it was such a short time, only
Okay.
through, on the truancies then. So they said, can we shorten it? I'm like, we're following the rules.
Officially, they
Yeah.
didn't want to, they changed
Oh,
their mind.
yeah.
That's the end of the quarter.
Oh,
That's why we always go by that date, so if you want it longer, or is that what, I don't know.
I think that's fine.
I'll do what the school recommends.
Yeah, that's
That's
kind of
fine
what I
with
thought
me.
too, yeah.
That's not them doing it, sorry, I'm the one that made that date, so if you want to change it.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Oh, good. Another snow parking trial. Wonderful.
that I don't have to do. Sorry.
Well, two of them failed to appear.
So much work for those second tickets when they're done here. It's really frustrating.
Okay, good, good, good. So for that, there's a third, and there's no DL suspension. I'm happy to sign that. At least they worked something out. They brought, you know.
He didn't want to sign the
That's fine.
stipulation, so.
I mean, if they respond, then come here and meet with us, and then that, and they actually showed up for everything. I'm like, okay, that's kind of a annoying battle. Great. Okay. That's a good solution. There are a lot of not guilty pleas tonight too, and that's probably good to, you know, and they're almost all license or insurance issues.
Oh, okay. I feel like you guys have been busy.
Yeah, we have.
Police department has been busy.
Okay, approved all the pretrial conferences. We have to default everybody else. Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Thank you for your service. Good luck.
Thank you. I'll let you guys know what I end up doing.
Okay,
Or I'll
sounds
let
good.
Mary know and she can pass it on. Yeah. You would be the last person that would recommend me to go to the DA's office.
What, say that again?
He'd be the last person to recommend me to go to the DA's office. That place is a mess.
Yeah, it is.
I've had like 3 friends leave. One's a cop now.
That's good. Thank you.
Here, Holly.
C.M. Burnett, default. Danielle, this is going to be speed in initials. Danielle Boucher, default. Tommy Brand, default on 3. Stephen Campbell is a default. Danielle Campy is a default on 3. Ron Cedar is a bond forfeiture. Channel Coleman is a default judgment. Shelley Conway is a default judgment. Seki Daniel, Seki, how do you say it? Devin Daniel is a default judgment. On all 3 citations. Demarion Hakeem Davis is a default on both. James Davis is a default. Sean Edge is a default on all 3. Chesney Eek is a default. Justin Freitag is a default. Jeremy Fry is a default. Misha Goodman is a default. James Hammis is a default. Herbert Hansen is a bond forfeiture. Joshua Hansen is a default. Haley Hobbins is a bond forfeiture.
She paid the first offense. I don't think I didn't know if you
It's fine.
wanted to.
That's fine, no. Wendy Iverson is a bond forfeiture. Brian Janish is a default judgment. Ellen Johnson is a bond forfeiture. Cody King is a default judgment on all 3. Natalia Kurth is a default judgment. Justin Levertu is a default judgment. Brenda Lean is a default judgment. Patrick Lord is a default. Jessica Lundy is a bond forfeiture on both. Brandon Lundenberg is a default judgment. Amanda Lynn is a default judgment on both. Matthew Makos is a bond forfeiture. Thaddeus Mason is a bond forfeiture. Jonathan Miller is a default judgment on both. Mark Miller is a default judgment. Philip Means Glover is a default on both. John Nelson is a default on both. Samantha Nielsen is a default judgment. Daniel Norland is a default judgment. Paige Odegaard is a bond forfeiture. Ryan Ozores is a bond forfeiture. Alex Peterson Boyd is a bond forfeiture. Maritza Vanku Stewart is a default judgment. Grace Rathburn is a default judgment on both. Dalton, oh, thank you.
It's $2 to quick trip. I don't know if you want to have it here.
That was, I order $2 restitution in addition to the forfeiture to Quick Trip at 517 West Main Street, so Quick Trip West. All right. Grace Rathburn, we just defaulted her, 90-day DL suspension. Dalton Rigel is a bond forfeiture. Lily Rose Rober Zamudio, is a default judgment. Alhenia Shilzeth is a default judgment. James Smits is a default judgment. Kimberly Shootchart is a bond forfeiture. Keith Simonson is a bond forfeiture. John Sokeka is a bond forfeiture. Diane Sproul is a bond forfeiture. James Swenby is a default judgment. Donald Swenson is a default judgment. Terrell Taylor is a default judgment. Christopher Udi is a default judgment. Frederick James Van Steenderen is a default judgment. Pisces Watson is a default judgment on both. Marcus Wiesner is a default judgment. Jasmine Weihart is a default judgment on both. Joshua Wethel is a bond forfeiture. Garrett Whitehead is a bond forfeiture. Donald Wilbon is a default judgment on both. Michael Wittenweiler is a default judgment. Scott Zierwies. Do you want to say it? Scott Zawierzinski is a default judgment. Anything else? That concludes court. Thank you. Court's adjourned.
I know you're in a hurry. Do you have a minute for 2 quick questions?
I do.
In the office?
I said I'd be home by 6:30, so.